Call the roll.
Bird.
Here.
McGinn.
Here.
Stein.
Here.
Mormon.
Here.
Piper.
Here.
Williamson.
Here.
Gray.
Here. Okay, number 2, approval of agenda.
Any changes, Your Honor?
Yeah, one change, we're gonna remove 3A.
Motion to approve with that removal.
Call the roll.
McGinn.
Yes.
Stein.
Yes.
Mormon.
Yes.
Piper.
Yes.
Williamson.
Yes.
Gray.
Yes.
Bird.
Yes.
Okay, number 3, presentation of petitions, other communications. B, public hearing to consider the proposed plans, specifications, form of contract, and estimate of cost for the water treatment facilities, exterior wall repair, and reform project. Any written comments? Any public comments? Now this public hearing is closed. C, public hearing to consider the proposed plans, specifications, form of contract, and estimate of costs for South Main Street Water Main Replacement Project. Any written comments? Any public comments? Nothing. This public hearing is closed. D, Ames Economic Development Commission quarterly update. Go ahead.
Well, thank you, Mayor, and members of the Boone City Council. Dan Cole Haynes, pleasure to be here tonight. I see 2 new members of the City Council who are on my list, and I'm running this list to get to know you, and maybe reach out to you here fairly soon. It's pretty interesting. This year's gone really fast. I think back to our first meeting here, presenting to you folks a year ago. That time has gone quickly. And what we found that first year is that there's a real eagerness and a thirst from your business community for the work that we're doing. And so we met with really open arms, not only from this building here in City Hall, but also the people that we're working with inside the business community. So that's been a pleasure. I can tell you that we do a lot of reporting on a lot of different things we do. And I have to say, I'm really proud of this. This turned out great. It shows well. It shows a wide variety of activities that we did on your behalf. And that's what you should expect from us as your contractor for economic development services. And so I can go through this bit by bit. I won't. There's certainly some high points. The solar FX project, the acquisition of the property downtown. We would never take full credit for that, but we know we had a hand in that. And that was good for your downtown in a very big way. And so there's doing your business retention and expansion program. Your company's hearing that we were there on behalf of you as elected officials and as a city. That's really important for them to hear. They like that reinforcement that they're in a good place and that the people that are making policy on behalf of that community are thinking about them too. And so that's highly worthwhile. I'm going to stop there. I'm here for questions. I'm going to turn it over to Brenda. She'll provide a little more color to this brochure you've got here. But again, we appreciate the opportunity to work on your behalf. And thank you for having us here this evening.
So good evening and welcome to the city council members. I'm going to direct your attention inside the flyer that we distributed. So the BRE information was something we completed at the end of the kind of first quarter of the calendar year. And so we've included that data again. And what I would tell you is we're starting this week already to launch efforts to go out and revisit the companies that we visited last year. We've added a couple others to the list, but this gives you a snapshot of kind of the highlights of those visits last year. And when it starts to get really kind of fun and interesting is to start doing comparison years to years. So when we sit here a year from now, we'll be able to actually do some comparison on what we're hearing for your industry. What is new and you haven't seen before are actually the results of the business survey we conducted on your behalf in the fourth quarter. And so these were things specific about people's access to the program, their perception of the value of those programs, a little bit of the makeup of the respondents of that. What are the biggest challenges facing the businesses in your community and things and again, it doesn't fail if you're in Boone or if you're in Zuri. It always seems like tax relief and property taxes show up. So that's part of being in business. You want to keep your costs low. So don't be alarmed that things like that show up. And And anyway, so the other thing that we'll do every year as part of our contract for services, we'll also continue to distribute a business satisfaction survey on your behalf. Again, it's important to know how likely would they be to recommend doing business in Boone, and so you can see those statistics. But I did want to highlight that because that is information you haven't seen before. Again, it was wrapped up at the end of the fourth quarter. We've also highlighted on the back a lot of the efforts related to our marketing efforts and our job board and our Facebook group. And I love the opportunity that the Facebook page has become a place where your employers and your businesses are sharing job opportunities. So it is really an engaging Facebook page. And again, I would encourage people to continue to use it. That way that's how people can find jobs nowadays. It's a connection, it's a post, it's a friend that suggested a job opportunity. The labor force and getting people connected to jobs is not any easier. And so every tool we have to try to connect the job seeker to the job is important. So we'll, again, as we look at 2022, a lot of efforts around hosting a career fair here, making sure your employers are using the job board. Will continue to be marketing on your behalf. And with that, I'll also, if you have any questions, I'm available to answer questions. You can always contact me if you want to take a look at the business survey a little bit further. I'll be glad to talk with you about that. But those are things that, again, we'll continue now to do every year and report those results to you.
On the middle here where it says 2021 business satisfaction survey results. Interpret that satisfaction in advancing community's goals, and that is 35%. Does that seem low? Is that, what would you interpret that?
You know, again, that's where trends start to be important. You know, yeah, I think their satisfaction with you all as a community and having kind of that greater good, the growing your businesses, growing your population. So this is not a survey we conduct other places. So really we put this together with your feedback. So I can't even compare it to what other communities, we have a chamber survey we do, but it's different than this. So again, I think the important thing is this is a base, and let's see as the year goes.
Right, or the
We
last
improve.
couple of years to see if that is
Yeah.
increased or gone down
Yeah.
or what the trend is.
Yep, so this will be the first time you've done this on behalf of the city. So it'll be different than leaving your chamber done. This is really was on behalf of the city. So that's why I said, looking at year-to-year data to say, we want more than 35% satisfied with the job we're doing with advanced schools. So watching kind of those trends, I think will be important.
Any other questions? Thank you very much. I think you're doing an awesome job for us. Appreciate it.
It's our pleasure to get to work on your behalf.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next up, Erickson Public Library fiscal year 2021 annual report. Jamie.
Good evening. Good to see you all again. Jamie Williams from the Erickson Public Library. I'm here to present our annual report. Every year I come here, it's usually around November. This year I waited till after the beginning of the year just to kind of start fresh. So if you haven't seen it, it's been out for probably about a month. It was in your packet on page 551. That's a pretty long packet. So I don't know if anybody has had a time to look at it. But I do have print copies if anybody would like it. We also have it available on our website and in the library. So I will leave these here if anybody wants a nice fresh copy. So each year we spend time kind of doing an analysis of what's worked, what's not worked, what do we want to change. We really focus, the board and I, on strategy, how we want to proceed with our programs, what's important to our citizens. So our annual report really highlights our programs and services provided. This year, because of COVID, we started the year kind of not being open on Saturdays. In April of 2020, we expanded, or 2021, we expanded our Saturday hours. So we are open full-time. We have been open for quite a while, but we still get those calls, are we still open? So if you know anybody, or if you're wondering yourself, we're open. We are doing in-person programs. We did kind of think for a while, we don't know where we're going with that. So our virtual programs are very, very popular. In the packet on the last page, you can kind of see last year I started doing this, we mapped the impact. And this I really wanted to show because I do think we play a role in economic development. We do pull in people from all around the country. There's a lot of people that attend our programs, from Portland, Oregon to Omaha to Canada people. I kind of have to give Rhonda, our librarian, kudos for those Canada people. She's got a following in Canada. So on the second page, you can kind of see I kind of put together more numbers. So how many, items we've circulated, 92,000. We have, our gate count went down because we have a lot of people do curbside. So we really adjusted our services. And I guess I will kind of leave any questions open if you have any.
Any questions for Jamie?
Comment that new book drop is really, really nice.
It is, that was funded by a donation from a citizen. So that was something we had on our dream list probably about 5 years ago. I thought I had brought it up at one of our meetings, so I'm really glad that we were able to do that. It was nice.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next up, discuss funding option for Boone School Road. Bill.
Thank you, sir. So as council is aware, there have been several meetings with the school and discussion of the new road for the early childhood school out there. Our last meeting was December 13th. And I think we come up with a solution on how we can do this, and that's what I'm here to discuss with you tonight. Both sides agree on moving forward with this. The school will officially still be responsible for the road, but obviously the city staff is going to assist where they can on that. At the present time, we need $3.5 million for that road. Excuse me. And as you remember, in past, the city committed $750,000 to the school to pay for that road. That commitment does not change. It's still $750,000. However, the city is going to, with your permission, the city will bond that $3.5 million, and then the city will receive from the school every year that the bond payment is due an amount of the payment that's responsible for $2.75 million of that $3.5 million, to include whatever interest that is, and then half the bond costs. So I explained the breakdown. So when we do this bond, all billing will come through the city, and the city will pay the bills, but from those bond proceeds. You have the Wellness Center election coming up on March 1st. That passes, that is a $10 million bond. For those of you that don't know, the city is only allowed to bond for $10 million per calendar year. So the plan would be that this $3.5 million bond would start in January 2023. And then proceed forward. It usually takes 60 days or so to proceed and get those. However, I know the school wants to start on this road. And so, for example, engineering or something that needs to be started in the fall 22. Is that about right? Okay. Then whether it's the school or the city can use reserves to make those payments to the engineer, et cetera, and then be reimbursed for those once we get the proceeds of the bond. So it wouldn't necessarily hold up the starting of the road. All that's required from the city is that we do a reimbursement resolution that's approved by city council. The yearly bond on the payment is approximately $335,000 to be split appropriately on how much responsibility is between the city and school. The bond will not require the city to raise its debt service. We have a bond falling off that'll take care of our $750,000. So we will not need to raise any levies for that. We have a meeting scheduled with Audrey, myself, and Jim with the school on Thursday, the 20th. I believe it's with their attorney so that we can start hammering out a 2080 agreement. This would require a 2080 agreement between the city and the school to spell out who's responsible for what in that bond. Our bond, we have a bonding capacity, as you know, and our policy is that we only bond 80% of that capacity. If you bond the 10 million for the wellness center and then you bond 3.5 million for this, the city will still have 12.9 million available for bonding for an emergency or something like that if required. One of the concerns going in this for me was I wanted to make sure that we didn't go down too far where we got into something where we needed to. I think at 12.9 we're fine. Other information that I will share with you, will this affect our bond rating? It potentially could. In combination with the wellness center bond, we will be increasing our debt. Anytime you increase your debt, that could affect your bond. We will have the 2080 agreement with the school, but ultimately the city is responsible for those bond payments. So why I bring that up, if the school default, I can't think of a reason why that would happen. But if it is, for council's information, ultimately the city's responsible for that. Again, I can't think of a situation where that would occur. Further of what, as far as assistance, I will let you know that as we move forward with the early childhood center, the improvements that the school is making in their gym, and then I believe, I don't know if there's a start date yet, but the new future school on West 8th Street, I don't know if you have a start date or not. We have not received a building permit for it yet. But to give you an idea of contributions the city's making as well, the improvements to the gym by us waiving those building permits for the school saves them about $11,000 on the gym update. And I'm looking at, if I'm wrong here, I'll correct it, about a $28 million value for the early childhood center.
I mean,
Is
roughly.
that fair? Rough, and I'm talking approximately. That's approximately $72,351 in assistance to the school that we're not charging them for building permit fees. And this also does not include any mechanical, electrical permits as well, or city staff time making those inspections for those projects. So that is the information I prepared for you tonight. I believe that the city can be comfortable knowing that the school knows they're responsible for the road and they will ensure that it's done. I'm comfortable saying that. So what I need tonight is permission from the council. Obviously, there'll be a 2080 that'll come back, that'll have to come forward to the council for approval. Excuse me. What I'm looking for tonight is a motion to approve working with the school on this new road, bonding for $3.5 million on behalf of the school and the city, and that the city's responsibility is $750,000 of that, plus their share of the interest and half the cost of the bond. That's what I'm looking for a motion for approval of that if the elected officials so choose. So moved.
Call the roll.
Stein,
Yes.
Mormon,
Yes.
O'Haver,
Yes.
Williamson,
Yes.
Grant,
Yes.
Bird,
Yes.
McGinn.
Yes.
Okay, number 4, report of standing committees, A, policy administration, BJ.
Vote for.
Public safety, Stephen.
We will have a meeting on the 25th at 4:30 p.m. One item so
Next, utility committee, Stephen.
Okay, so in front of you, you have a some paperwork about the water contract and some changes that you can finish them on this contract. I'm going to turn this over to Bill.
Thank you, sir. So as you know, we signed a contract with US Water in December. The transition date where they start managing the plants is March 1st. So just because we signed a contract doesn't mean that we don't continue communication with them, see if there's better ways we can do things. So in those conversations that we've had, we've come up with an amendment that we'd like council to consider. US Water is on board with this. As you know, the original contract is $1.608888 million. And that includes where the US Water pays for majority of the costs on chemicals and sludge, gas and oil equipment, things like that. The equipment isn't, we had a majority of the equipment, there was a share for them on the equipment. We have, in this amendment, we have taken that back. One of the reasons I looked at that was when we went through this process, one of the comments was, well, we'll lose control or we won't have any control of those costs. So as we continue those conversations with US Water, that's one thing I brought to the table and asked about bringing those under the city's authority. So now in the amended contract, we will pay those. We will have control of those. And what it does, it saves us a little bit of money with US Water on admin costs for them processing all those invoices and everything. Those will still come through the city. And currently I'm doing them because we don't have an engineer to do it, and I'll continue to do that at least in the foreseeable future with the help of Andrea, obviously. The amended contract, it includes 6 employees. I'll tell you that I had a lengthy conversation with them. They are very comfortable with 6 employees. And I believe the reason they are is because they have other resources to draw from. They have plants in Fort Dodge that they run. They have Chris and they have Aaron who have been in front of you that will look over the plants as well, which include, the water and the wastewater plant. So I'm comfortable with that. I've had a conversation with Stephen as chair of utility. I've had conversation with Councilman Warren because of his expertise in this area and in his career, as well as Councilman Bird because he was in on it from the beginning as part of the utility committee. I feel, and please, if I'm speaking out of line, let me know that those 2 are comfortable with those 6 employees. So moving forward here, one other thing is the city of this amended contract, the city has 2 trucks at each plant. US Water would use 1 truck at each plant. The reason for this is because we maintain the equipment. We don't give that up. So snow plow and everything, those trucks will be needed to move snow. However, the second truck at each plant is going to come back to the city. Just as an example, our maintenance person needs a new truck. His truck is really bad, breaking all the time. Plus then Public Works to get an additional one. So that would be part of this amendment contract. The city would still have potential savings in the contract. So in other words, US Water, as they manage these plants and those utility bills come down and those chemical bills, which are significant for our plants, those would come down as well, then we would see savings in that area. I listed some options on the sheet for you. If you have any questions about those or want to ask me any questions. But that is where we are right now. And I think it makes sense to look at the amended contract. So if the elected officials so choose, what I would ask is a motion to approve to allow the mayor to sign the amended contract. And Stephen, if I've left something out, please let me know. Good.
We are saving because we're taking on some more of the management and bookkeeping. I mean,
there's a little bit of savings on the yes, and plus the if you look at the chemicals, just for the water plant alone, that's over $200,000. So we have the control of that. They will work for us to get savings on that, which will help us, but those invoices come across our desk and we approve them rather than US Water. Because that's a significant amount of money, I thought it was important that come back to the city that we can do that. It's more work for city staff, but I think it's worth it.
and that's quite a reduction.
Yes, yeah, so you can see what the new cost of the amended contract is. It goes from 1.608888 to 892,718. A decrease of what the city of Boone pays US Water of $716,170.
Move to approve modification of the contract.
Call the roll.
Mormon,
Yes.
Hilheimer,
Yes.
Williamson,
Yes.
Ray,
Yes.
Bird,
Yes.
McGinn.
Yes.
Stein.
Yes.
Let's see, next up, economic development, Terry.
We had a quick meeting, prior to this meeting, about 706 Keeler, the VDEP request. They're going to give an additional bid for the front facade of the building and include that in the next presentation on the 7th. And following that, we'll do a site visit and meet with the site visit.
Okay, thank you. Number 5, department reports, building official Ed.
Thank you, Your Honor. On the agenda this evening, we have a site plan that's been submitted by Boone Schools for the Early Childhood Center at 1805 Hancock Drive. This is an approximate 66-acre undeveloped site. This facility itself will be a 79,000 square foot structure. The stormwater management plan has been reviewed by SEH Engineering, and they have recommended approval of the stormwater plan. It does meet all the parking requirements in the zoning ordinance. The building will meet the 30% brick facing requirement, and sidewalks will be installed only on the north side of the newly installed Hancock Drive, all the way from that west property line of 1805 Hancock down to Corporal Snedden Drive. But this time we don't see a need for sidewalks on the south side of Hancock in that area. The school is projecting to start construction in the spring of 22. And with that, staff and the Planning and Zoning Commission have recommended approval subject to the inclusion of the extension of Hancock Drive.
So moved. There's a second. Call the roll.
Hilheimer,
Yes.
Williamson,
Yes.
Ray,
Yes.
Bird,
Yes.
McGinn.
Yes.
Stein.
Yes.
Mormon,
Yes.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ed. Okay, next up, finance officer, Brett. City attorney, Jennifer.
Thank you, Your Honor. I have talked to the attorney for iHomes development as far as Garfield schools. At this time, they have nothing to propose. That's not the attorney's fault. We had no response from his client. So I will proceed with the appropriate litigation to seek enforcement of that. And we come up with a resolution that I'll let you know, but I see no other alternative at this time. With that, I have nothing further.
Okay, thank you. Director of Public Works, John Rouse.
Yeah, sure, a couple things. If you remember last Tuesday during the budget meeting, I accidentally mentioned the word water main break for the use of our material. We got 2 water main breaks, so we fixed them last Thursday, one on South Marshall, one on Parkway Drive behind Block Redlands. Knock on wood, so do that again. 12 inches of snow, we went out Saturday night and Saturday morning, hit everything, kept everything open all day Friday, went back out last night, wind rode it and picked it up, and we got to finish it up this tonight. There's just so much snow we couldn't get all picked up.
Great work.
We're gonna go out tomorrow when it gets up to 40, we'll scrape all the slush and clear up the corners and all that stuff that, you know, when we plow crisscross, there's some stuff in the middle, we just gotta address it. Thank you.
Thank you. Engineer, for report of engineering.
No, sir.
Okay, public safety, Chief Adams.
Yes, Your Honor, in your packet tonight, among several things for the fire department. One of them is a contract or resolution for contract services with Tomatich Engineering to start the design and engineering process for the addition on the north side of the fire station. And with that, I didn't ask any questions. Otherwise, I would entertain a motion for the resolution.
Williamson,
Yes.
Ray,
Yes.
Bird, McGinn,
Yes.
Stein.
Yes.
Mormon.
Yes.
Hilheimer.
Yes.
Thank you. I would also let you know in the packets is the, just like we talked about at budget meeting, the contract for the federal grant for purchasing the fire truck is in the consent agenda tonight. Thanks.
Thank you. Chief People.
Yes, Sean, real briefly, we obviously had our first snow ordinance event this winter. Public Works did a great job of working on the roads, and the citizens did a great job of keeping the cars off the streets. I think we ticketed about 18 vehicles, but only towed a dozen. People got to move before tow trucks arrived, which is usually our first event of the year is 60 towed vehicles, so I was really happy with that.
City Administrator Bill.
I don't think so.
Okay, number 6, consent agenda. Are there any items on the consent agenda that you'd like to move separately? I need a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Second, call the roll.
Ray.
Yes.
Bird.
Yes.
McGinn,
Yes.
Stein.
Yes.
Mormon.
Yes.
Hilheimer.
Yes.
Williamson.
Yes.
Okay, number 7, ordinances. A, waive second reading, ordinance 2274, amending chapter 3, wards to change the boundaries of the wards to equalize as close as possible the number of residents in each ward based on the last U.S. Census. So moved.
Second.
Call the roll.
Bird.
Yes.
McGinn,
Yes.
Stein.
Yes.
Mormon.
Yes.
Hilheimer.
Yes.
Williamson.
Yes.
Ray.
Yes. Okay, B, third reading ordinance 2274, amending chapter 3 wards to change the boundaries of the wards to equalize as close as possible the number of residents in each ward based on the last U.S. Census.
So moved.
Second.
Call the roll.
McGinn,
Yes.
Stein.
Yes.
Mormon.
Yes.
Hilheimer.
Yes.
Williamson.
Yes.
Ray.
Yes.
Bird.
Yes.
Move to adopt.
Call the roll.
Stein.
Yes.
Mormon.
Yes.
Hilheimer.
Yes.
Williamson.
Yes.
Ray.
Yes.
Bird.
Yes.
McGinn.
Yes.
Okay, C, third reading ordinance 2272 to allow the city of Boone, Iowa to change the parking regulations around Memorial Park by amending chapter 69, section 69.08.
So moved.
Call the roll.
Mormon.
Yes.
Hilheimer.
Yes.
Williamson.
Yes.
Ray.
Yes.
Bird.
Yes.
McGinn.
Yes.
Stein.
Yes.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Call the roll.
Hilheimer.
Yes.
Williamson.
Yes.
Ray.
Yes.
Bird.
Yes.
McGinn.
Yes.
Stein.
Yes.
Mormon.
Yes.
Okay, D, third reading ordinance 2273 to dissolve the Boone City Arts Commission in its current form and replace it with a different entity, chapter 33. So moved.
Second.
Call the roll.
Williamson.
Yes.
Ray.
Yes.
Bird.
Yes.
McGinn.
Yes.
Stein.
No.
Mormon.
Yes.
Hilheimer.
Yes.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Call the roll.
Ray.
Yes.
Bird.
Yes.
McGinn.
Yes.
Stein.
No.
Mormon.
Yes.
Hilheimer.
Yes.
Williamson.
Yes.
Number 8, mayor's comments. I have no comments this evening. Number 9, any council comments?
I handed out a couple of items for you. The rec center community meeting, agenda is there for the 27th. This is a big meeting with a lot of information that we're gonna be dispersing. So if you want to know anything about the rec center, come to this meeting. That's why I handed it out to you. And I also handed out the brochure that Ames EDC worked on for the Boone Recreation and Wellness Center. That's what we're calling it now officially. Take a look at that. It's a very informative and helpful brochure. We've been passing those out at the meetings, and we will continue to do so.
When I mentioned the meeting's gonna be at 6:30, says
The
that.
meeting's at 6:30. We moved it up a little bit because there's so much information that we figured we should probably do that.
Was our meeting at 6 before that? Just with the Was this a 6 o'clock meeting, that's in night?
I think so, right, just to go over it real quick.
Okay, so we'll do that.
Yeah.
Any other council comments this evening? Any public comments for items not on the agenda? This meeting is adjourned.